Sure.
You still got the magnets and the baffles in the tank?
Yes, sir. Got the magnets on that upper filter, on the canister filter, and also on in the tank itself. 2 magnets laying in the base.
We start seeing a lot of brass and stuff in the tank. We just take the oil right out, send them out to be recalled.
Yeah. You start seeing brass up there, you know you've hit the limit. Okay, looking at your hydraulic print. Oh, shut up. Again, your screw feeder, the factory presets, screw feeder is 2 RPM and 25 RPM. Pump is 2 strokes per minute, and the max is 10.6 strokes per minute, close to 11. You do have a forward-reverse valve on your screw feeder. You do not on the pump. You have forward-reverse on your pump via the maintenance box. So it's not like you're out of it, it's just different than it was before. The schematic for the pump is virtually the same as before, with the exception of that forward-reverse lever. Now you got electrically operated solenoid instead of the forward-reverse lever. Your adjusted pressures on the KSP pump. Hydraulic high pressure shutdown is 1863. I have it set up a little bit higher right now. I have quite a bit of range. That's just a factory preset. I mentioned that I'll have to change the pressure settings if we're going to dry out the sludge a little bit. Everybody got worried. That's a factory preset. As long as you don't go over what your nameplate data says for your motor, the pump can put out 3,000 PSI. So as far as the pump's concerned, that's what it can go to. What our limitations are is from whatever that motor driving it is. So right now the pump pump relief pressure is set at 2277, so there's plenty of room to grow. Let's see what your screw's set at. That's going to be around 3,000. Your screw pressure is set at 3,000. There is no, or actually 3,300 for high pressure relief. So that we've got the bypass, the pump bypass set at 3,000. So the screw pressure can go right up there to 3,000 PSI. There's no high pressure shutdown on the screw. It'll just stall, and it won't go any higher than that. If you need parts, obviously Schwing has all these parts on hand. Most of the parts you're going to have already in stock. Poppets are the same. You're going to have a difference on your discharge poppets because the discharge poppets now are exactly the same as your suction poppets.
Same size?
Same size.
Really?
Same length, same everything.
Oh, nice.
Yep. So now you only have to stock the one non-stainless steel cylinder.
We getting any spare parts?
I'm sure that whatever spare parts were ordered you've gotten, they've been accepted already. I don't know where they are, who's got them. They're, Joe's locked them up somewhere in some secret room.
Last time I got like 1,000 O-rings.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Who knows where they all went to, but I
Yeah, they're all signed over to you. You got them hid somewhere. That's probably where the new tools are too. But in your O&M manual, obviously every part, every hose, every fitting, every nut, every bolt is categorized. Hose fittings Everything's locked in there, and the nice part is that you do have pictures like this of the hydraulic tank, of everything on the system, and I don't like this thing. Then it breaks it down, so it's a fairly easy look, you know. So okay, need that fitting. I strip that bugger out, the piece of junk. Look up 331 and go up to your wherever it is. 331, and we got a hydraulic fitting, R1. So,
It is an extensive process to go through the book.
excuse me?
It is a very extensive process.
But it's laid out. It's laid out as, I think, as readable as you can hope for, especially these new ones. If I got a complaint about it, is that the print's too dang small. Yeah, and got nothing to do with my eyes going bad or nothing else. They made the print smaller, and it irritates me. Obviously, some of the things that are different, you've got a lot of different things on your in your electrical panel. Then you don't have the DTAM anymore. You have the operator interface, the HMI, on the face of your panel. Which is a lot different than your old DTAM. And here's that local remote switch. In the remote, you can run from any of your remote operating stations, wherever they may end up being. I don't know where they're all going to be. One upstairs and one down in the room that it's in now, I'm not sure. But then in local mode, you run from this HMI here. You got your, right here, you've got your control power. There's a little white clear lens lamp right in the center. Without that, you're not running. So if you don't see a little white light there, you've got, this is probably going to be blinking, maybe, but more than likely you've got an e-stop push someplace. So there's only two e-stops, the one right here and the one up on the cake pump itself. Got your alarm reset right next to your control power light. And again, remember, if the red light's flashing, you've got something's wrong in your train. Either you might have an e-stop going, but that's usually showed by your control power. But if you see that, the first thing you want to look at is make sure somebody hasn't turned that maintenance box to maintenance upstairs. And that again, it'll be on your alarm screen on your HMI. Just it's a little orange button on your HMI screen. Just press that and see what the alarm is. It'll tell you right away which way to go, unless it's a communications fault, and it will say a communications fault. So, but there's really not much you can do about that if that fault is a constant or coming from another source. Inside of the panel, pretty basic. You got your main disconnect for your breaker, your control relays, your physical control relays. Then you got your PLC, you got your 24-volt power supplies, your network switch, some small control relays, your driver cards for your pump and screw feeder, and a little recirc motor heater. Now, how much you want to get into this, Bob? Just, yeah, okay. Just got those guys that were hiding in the back there before. Yeah, all right. All righty. I guess we'll go down to the pump and see what makes that thing tick. All right, this is the cake pump operating screen. Normal operation is in automatic and a choice of either tracking or pressure mode. To begin with, you come to the screen, you bring up your screen. The first thing you want to do is after going around the equipment and inspecting the equipment is push start. It will show up under here that you have started it. Once you have material coming into your pump from the belt press and you have a sufficient amount of material in your screw feeder, come over and push load, and the word loaded will come up underneath. That way you will know that you are online and pumping when these requirements are met. In automatic mode, or excuse me, in manual mode, you would set your speed here for your screw feeder, and again for your pump here. We're in automatic mode, so this is irrelevant. These are irrelevant. But these are your pipeline pressure and they are relevant. That's telling me that right now we're pumping in the upper pipeline at 590 psi. And it just shifted and now we're at 618 psi on the lower. These are need to know because it also is directly related to your hydraulic pressure, which we will point out on the hydraulic power pack when we go out next door. So right now we're running in automatic. You can see if you strike automatic, the word comes underneath. We are in pressure mode. We know this because the word pressure is underneath. If we had pressed tracking, it would be in tracking mode. In pressure mode, we have a set point of 17, and we are running at between 12 and 13, 14. We could probably lower this down just a little bit. The pump speed is set at 44%. We're running at about 4 to 4.5 strokes per minute. Somewhere just a little bit past 4 strokes a minute. And we are running at 84 to 85% filling efficiency. It varies depending upon how much sludge is getting forced into the pump. So in pressure mode, by setting the speed right here for the desired transition pressure, the screw feeder tries to maintain that pressure. By what I am seeing right now, the cake is getting dry and we're having a little difficulty reaching that pressure. So the screw is running at a little bit higher speed. Now the pump is a preset, that won't change. You pick the speed and that's what it'll be set at. In tracking mode, if you were to pick tracking mode, you'd pick whatever speed you pick for the pump, that same speed would automatically be followed by the screw feeder. So if you pick 44, the screw would be running at 44. That's in tracking mode. If you want to see what the trends are doing like on your pump, on your different pieces of equipment, you can come over to the trend screen. And down here we have the white line as the cake pump. And we can see that we're tracking evenly with the belt press, what the belt press is feeding us. We have minor spikes, speed differences in the screw feeder as it tries to maintain that pressure setting that we've been giving it. And you have your pipeline pressures. I believe that's, yeah, the green one and that darker blue one, your pipeline pressures. And you see they're tracking each other very nicely. This is the HP 440 hydraulic power pack. This is our operating screen. We can scroll through a few different items on the screen. Because we are in remote mode, all we can do is visually look at these. We got pressures. Just tells me what our transition pressure is doing and what my pipeline pressure is doing. Upper and lower pipelines. We can check our motor data for maintenance purposes, how many starts, and the overall run time that this motor is run. Oh, come on. My calibrated finger isn't working. We have an alarm screen. Obviously no alarms running right now. They would show up here, and you have your clear alarm section. If you had a lot of alarms, you'd scroll up and down. But to reset an alarm, you just go here. To clear the alarms off the screen, you'd come here. Sludge flow measuring tells us everything that's going on with our sludge flow measuring equipment, what's going on in the pipeline. What you'll want to see is a normal indication written down here. If there was some malfunction, you'd see an error written out. And you probably wouldn't see these green lights flickering or turning on and off like they are right now, running normally. We have stroke time, fill time since the last stroke. It's about 12 seconds, but it takes it to fill. Average filling efficiency, we're right around 84%. And filling efficiency for the last stroke, so we're bouncing between 83 and 85% filling efficiency. Screw feeder set points if we were running in some mode other than pressure mode, but I've got the screw feeder set at 15 psi pressure and actual at about 13, 14 now. So it's trying to maintain, it's running the screw at 100% speed. So they could probably lower that down a little bit. When you're in local mode, you'd have all your controls for operating that we saw in the control room out here on this screen, where you would start and stop, load, and then bypass and have screw control operations. Now if we go around the pump, go around the power pack here, we'll open up the access